Okay, let's give ourselves some acknowledgement for the new year. I tell you, I'm excited about this year. You know, it's like I get a chance to see what I really want again. That's what we always get a chance to find out is what we're really asking for as opposed to what we think we're asking for. And so I feel like my own commitment to remember and practice the truth is greater than it's ever been before, because it's easier to stay focused on something if you're seeing the results. And I'm definitely seeing the results in my personal dream. And one of the greatest witnesses that I have sitting right in front of me right now. So you can't have cool people like this in your life and not be doing something right. You know what I'm saying? You know, you look around the room and see people that's this cool and beautiful and hot. You know you're doing something right. Yeah, so we need to acknowledge ourselves one more time. Yeah, so we're gonna do the way we're gonna be in the way of mastery, spiritual hotness. We're going to be in the way of mastery on page 42, in the way of the heart. And we're going to start off with the paragraph. That says, "You must find your own way to your own truth." And that's on page 42. Excuse me, page 42 in the way of the heart. And so you know the routine. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. Some of it's going to be hard to believe and quite startling. But bottom line is, if we do it, we'll see that it works. So the first stage of changing your mind about anything according to the truth is that you hear it. So I'm going to cover some of the material, and then I'm going to throw it open for discussion for 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to go. I'm going to do some more of the material. And that way, hopefully, we can get a good balance between hearing new ideas and getting the chance to get some clarification of what we're doing. So the first thing the Spirit is telling us is that you must find your own way to your own truth. You must find your own way to your own truth. You must find your own way to your own truth. And until we get to the point that you make the truth in other words, until you get to the point that you make the truth your own, then you haven't found your own way to your own truth. So even though we're listening to a form of the truth, you still have to make it your own. And if you don't make it your own, then it never really affects you. So before each and every one of us lies your pathway. Before each and every one of you lies your pathway. Your pathway is right before you. It's a doorway, it's an eye of the needle which only you can fit. So your particular path, your particular curriculum, it's yours. It's not somebody else's. And what creates most of the dissension and pain that we go through in the world is either we're trying to get somebody else to do it our way, or they're trying to get us to do it their way. And therefore, in some respects, you are seemingly alone, because it really is your own pathway and you're the only one that can be on it. And it says, so you must make the decision to desire above all things. Oh, that explains it. So you must desire above all things awakening into perfect remembrance of your union with God. That explains it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. If you really think about it, now you understand. Because that's not usually the first thing that people say when you ask them what's the most important thing to them. It's not union with Source.
That'd be a good 2015 intention.
Well, actually what's so interesting is that most people tell themselves that they're going to focus on their union with God after they get everything else taken care of. Yeah, after I get everything else taken care of, then I'll work on my spiritual path. And they don't realize that if you were to actually commit yourself to your spiritual path, all that stuff you're trying to figure out would be taken care of and it would be handled. He says, so, okay, we did that about the wave, da-da-da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, boom, we covered that, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so we're going to go, I covered some of that last week, so I want to start off somewhere new within it. I mean, week before last. So when you drop down, it says, just like the wave, you can decide to find a way to transcend limitation. You can find a way to become re-identified with the consciousness or living awareness that you are one with the depth of the sea Decide that you can operate not from the superficial level of awareness that might be like the foam at the tip of the wave, which you call your conscious or egoic mind, but that you can become informed in all that you speak, all that you do, all that you create, and all that you perceive by that which rests in the very infinite depth of the ocean itself. So imagine drawing upon a well within you that seems to have no bottom. Imagine drawing on a well within you that seems to have no sides, through which something is pouring forth from places unseen, in which your literal conscious attention or awareness seems to be colored with radiant light, a light that literally leaves you feeling that you are not the body and mind, you are not your personal history with which you have identified before. You are an awareness that these things, you have an awareness that these things are only temporary and very impersonal effects of a level of desire within your soul, which is one and the same with the thing as the love of God expressing itself for no other reason than the love must be extended. Imagine transcending your fear of your own survival. Imagine that you are not worried about how you're going to survive. Imagine what it would be like not to have any concerns about how you're going to survive. Woo! Imagine transcending your fear of your own survival, because as you look upon your body, as you look upon your mind, you are no longer identified as that body, as that mind. So what does that mean? It means that your body and mind has become a tool to be utilized by the love that rests in the mind of God. In other words, you are letting your body and mind be a tool by which that love that created us can come through and extend out into your experience and create a reality that you don't have to worry about survival anymore. Because you have just become a tool. In a good way. Wow. That's right. So look at somebody and say, I'll be your tool. 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 Okay. All right.
I'll be your
tool. That's right. It might be a little rusty, but
I'll be my tool.
So actually you're supposed to be a tool to be utilized by the love that rests in the mind of God. You live yet no longer you, but you let the Christ or the true self dwell as you. This is a very real experience to be lived. Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to get out of the way and just let the light and the love and the power shine through you, creating the kind of experience that you'd like to have? Wouldn't it be wonderful to let an intelligence of divine design, something that really loves you and really knows what's going on, that's your greater self, come through you to create and to express in your life? I mean, when will we get to the point that we're willing to resign as our own teacher?
Now.
Yeah, especially which would be like the first thing that you would do if you were to honestly see the results of what you tried to do and how it's turned out most of the time. You know, it's not just a philosophy, y'all. We're not studying this because it's just another philosophy to debate. It is not just a concept, and it can never be a dogma. There is a mystical translation that occurs in the depth of your soul, which is merely a shifting of where you perceive your sense and source of your identity. So what is a mystical translation that occurs in the depth of your soul? It's when you shift in terms of what you perceive to be the source of your identity. When you change your mind about what you are to be more in line with what you are, that's the mystical translation that occurs in the depth of your soul. When you're willing to look at yourself as being something other than what you were taught you are. You're not your body, you're not your mind. You're not your body, you're not your mind. You're not your body, you are not your mind. You are not your body, you are not your mind. You are not your body, you are not your mind. Wow.
If you read any more, we might explain.
You're not your body, you're not your mind. You're not your body, you're not your mind. Your body and your mind should be used as a tool that the love that created us can use you as a means of bringing love everywhere around you, so that when you come into a room, it makes a real difference. They'll know something that's come in the room that's very different, that's very interesting, that's very powerful. So what is the energy required to take you from a myopic self-contraction in which you become identified with the little drops of foam out on the tip of the wave that's tossed to and fro by what seems to be a power outside of you, to get into a point that you have a sense of identity with the silent depth of the ocean that is everywhere present and seems to have no beginning and no end. The very energy that will carry you from the tip of the wave to the depth of the ocean is the energy of desire. What will take you where you want to go is the energy of desire. What will take you where you want to go is desire. It's passion, desire, desire, desire. The energy, check it out, the energy of desire. It didn't just say desire. It said the energy of desire. You know when you see somebody and you desire them, and then you, do y'all know what I'm talking about? Everybody like just look at me like, okay, all right, I just want to check in with y'all. Y'all scared me for a minute. Okay. It's the energy of desire. It's the energy of desire that motivates you. And so, for I say unto you, if the Creator had not desired to extend love, you would never have come into existence. You exist because whatever created us wanted to extend love, and so you must be love. Love is what you are. It's not something you're trying to create within yourself. It's really something that you're trying to extend because it's what you already are. Love is what you are. So your very sense of awareness of self, the fact that you're even aware you exist, is the result of the effect of love. Love created you. Love is what you are. You don't have to seek it. You don't have to make. It's no such thing as making love, by the way. You can't make love. You can only extend love. You can make fear, but you can't make love. So in most cases, when a person is saying they want to make love, they're really just making fear. And if you would kind of look back on the results of your making love, you know I'm telling the truth. You just be really honest. You know, that you made a whole lot of fear. Okay. And think about how many times you felt fear around what you thought of as love. So it says, it's the very same love that gave birth to the sun, the moon, all the stars, every dimension upon dimension upon dimension of creation. Woo! That very love, the desire to be extended, is the very source from which you have been birthed. As you know yourself to be, you are the effect of God's desire to extend love. So the next time somebody asks, who are you? Please don't give them a name. The next time somebody asks, what are you? Don't say, well, I was born in a certain town in a certain part of the planet. Don't tell them that you are a Democrat. Don't tell them you are a Republican. Don't tell them you are a communist. Don't tell them you are an atheist or a Catholic. Tell them the truth.
Love.
The next time someone asks you who you are, you say, who am I?
Love.
I am the extension of love in form. I have never been born. I will never taste, hold up, I will never taste death. I have never been born. I am infinite and eternal. I shine forth as a sunbeam to the sun. I am the perfect effect of, I am the effect of God's love, and I stand before you to love you. The next time somebody asks who you are, then report back to me and tell me how long it takes before the ambulance gets there to pick you up. When the person grabs you by the arm and eases you on out the party, we're gonna ease you on. Who am I? I am the extension of love in form. I have never been born. I will never taste death. I am infinite and eternal. I shine forth as a sunbeam to the sun. I am the effect of God's love. And I stand before you to love you.
I need to put that on my online dating.
That's what I'm saying. Put that on your own. Put that in your online dating profile.
That's a good one for Tinder.
I bet
Watch out, Tinder.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And that's what it says. And now that will raise some eyebrows.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It will also transform your world. For it is time to stop seeking the Christ, which is your true self. It is time to stop seeking the Christ, your true self, outside, and start choosing to take responsibility for being Christ incarnate, love incarnate. In other words, I'm not looking for love outside of myself. I'm taking responsibility for being love incarnate. I'm not looking for love. I am love. And I'm here to extend it. Any questions, any comments about all of that? Any of that? Okay, are you clear about who you are? You are love. Why don't you know that? Because of what you teach yourself, what you tell yourself. What you tell yourself all day long is why you don't know that. Your conversation in your mind is why you don't know that. What you are saying to yourself all day is why we don't know that. Because we're listening to the conversation that we're giving ourselves that doesn't remind us of that enough. You know.
Is that all we are as well? Or are we more
That's
than
it. That's it. That's all, because that's everything. Everything's contained within it. And it is infinite, and it's eternal, and it's never been born, and it never dies. It's just right now we're taking a temporary detour into the expression of ourselves as form and in form. We are God observing itself, herself. You know, it's like, what would it be like if I was separate? What would it be like if I was divided up into a lot of different me's and having the experience of that? That's what we're doing right now. We're just the one, whatever it is, having a heck of a variety of experiences with itself. We are God playing with itself.
That sounds juicy.
Wow.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it? And you got your own unique way of expressing that. That's your way. That no one else can do it like you do it. And that's what's so cool about it. You know, I am the effect of the love, and I'm standing before you to love you. And someone is not ready for love would only be frightened by what I'm saying. So that's kind of good, because that kind of weeds the people out for you. Someone is conscious would go, oh, that's what an awakening being would say to me. They would say to me that I'm here to extend love. They would tell me that they were eternal. They would tell me that they are like a sunbeam to the sun. They would tell me that I'm in your life to love you. That's what a loving being would say. That's what a loving being would want. It's fearful beings run away from somebody like that. So that protects the loving being.
Another question, Earl. So practicing all this, what would the best method be when I feel spiritually overwhelmed? Because there's been so much gifts coming to me right now, and healings. People reaching out to me, and like so much that like it can be overwhelming.
That's why it's so important to breathe.
I've been reading my ass off.
And not to breathe.
Breathe.
I've been breathing.
I'm serious.
No, I've been breathing, I've been meditating, I've been doing all those things.
Good,
and
that's
I've
it.
been balancing everything, but it was like ringing up my phone. I'm like, what?
I know. I know.
Like, kill yourself, man.
I know. It's okay. It's okay. Just keep breathing.
Okay.
Just and give them to God. Keep breathing
And that's what I said.
loving.
I was like, you can have it. Take this.
That's right. That's right.
Cool.
That's right. It's cool.
I get a day off.
Yeah.
God's taking care of it today.
and when we really love everybody, we give all of them to God.
Yeah.
And we give everybody to God all the time.
Right. Exactly.
I didn't create you. You didn't create me.
This is we. And I get that. And that's why I'm here. That's why we're all here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's been coming up.
Well, that's the lesson. That's what I'm saying. Most people think they're more ready for what they're asking for than they really are.
Right.
And so when it begins to show up, you get in touch with your upper limits. And then you have to learn how to let yourself increase and expand your awareness and your and your ability to receive through gratitude.
Right.
Because gratitude always increases your capacity to receive.
Right.
So your showing gratitude for what's happening to you right now is automatically expanding your consciousness so that you can have more. So I regret to tell you, there's just going to be more.
I did talk to somebody earlier, and she was like, gratitude's big. She was like, just like be grateful for your cool shoes, or with somebody walking down the street smiling and whatever it may be. But
yeah, be grateful for all of it. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Yes, my brother.
Kind of on the flip side of that.
Okay.
The question would be, what about when it seems that the world is just taking a dump on you?
That just means that you're taking a dump on yourself and projecting it out on the world.
But what about, hold on, I want to agree with that to a point.
But it's okay
but
if you don't.
There's some
okay
areas where it just, and I know a quick answer to a lot of what I'm talking about. I mean, losing people that are dear and close to you, not just like losing friendship, but like losing them It's hard. It's rough when you get that experience. But then, like, when you have your own terminal illnesses diagnosed or whatever they may be, and not that they're all terminal. Some of them are just a shitty situation that aren't necessarily. I mean, I know I didn't ask for any of this that I have, and I'm not trying to say woe is me, but I know I wasn't asking for it. But when it happened, it definitely. I guess this is not so much as a question, but as an observation. I feel that when you get hit with things too, when the world seems to be taking a dump on you, or you're taking a dump on yourself, or whatever it may be, but having that same grateful attitude, being filled with gratitude for the fact that you have the opportunity to breathe through the situation. I think it's being spiritually overwhelmed in a good way, in love. I mean that can be intense, and I can understand the intensity that is there. But when it's the other side of the coin too, and I'm not saying fear. I'm just saying. I mean, being diagnosed with cancer or with MS or with any kind of ailment or something along those lines. Hopefully, I pray that people get awakened to their own contributions to said situation. But I really feel like there's more to the issue than just me saying, "Yeah, I was asking for this."
And that's the problem. That's why you keep hanging on to it. The reason why it keeps presenting itself is that the refusal to accept the fact that you're the one that is you're the one that's eternal, you are the one that's infinite, you are the one that's powerful, you are the one that's the creator of your experience, you are the one that is choosing and determining the way that you're perceiving everything that's going on around you, is determining how you feel and determining how you're seeing it. And the hardest thing for anybody to accept that's been programmed the way that the world programs us is to believe that what they are experiencing is coming from their own consciousness, their own creativity, and their own mind. So if it wasn't that way, then you would forever have to be the victim of everything that's going on in your life. And so the beauty of taking responsibility for the way that you see and experience your reality is that it gives you an opportunity to choose for something else so that you don't have to keep on going through it. There's no benefit truly at any level in believing that there aren't other ways to look at everything that you're going through in such a way that it empowers you and that it heals you. Even if you were diagnosed with a terminal illness, if you knew the truth, you would look at that totally different, to the point that you could feel peace about whatever would happen to you, because you would know you were not that body and you were not that mind, and that who you are is infinite and eternal. And it's because we don't know that we become fearful of everything that happens to us, that makes us feel afraid and unhappy. It's a matter of identity. It's a matter of who are you. That's why I started out with that. Who am I? Am I just a body that comes into the world temporarily, that's a victim of everything that happens to me, and then I leave? Or am I this infinite being that's here to recognize certain spiritual lessons and to wake up to who I really am, and to get in touch with how my own consciousness and thoughts are creating my experience, and then being open to having another way of looking at it that would change that whole thing? So then it becomes a matter of, am I willing to land on the side of I am responsible or I am a victim? And we already know the result of looking at ourselves as a victim. The result of that is the world we already see, the world that we are already experiencing. So it's almost like we've already done the victim experiment. We already know what it feels like to think you're temporary, think you're a body, think you're a victim, think that there's something outside of you doing something to you. That's the world we're already in. So the truth is saying to us that, well, what might happen if you looked at that from another perspective, even though it's going to be a challenge, because it's totally opposite to the way that you've always been programmed. So no one's saying that it's going to be easy or pleasant to change our mind about how we think things are. And whatever we sincerely believe, we're going to see anyway. So you're going to be able to point out one thing after another thing after another thing that witnesses to the idea that we are victims. It's because we believe it, so we see it. So we're actually being asked to focus our attention on a way of thinking that we don't already see the results of yet, because you won't see the results until you change your mind. So then it becomes, am I willing to see things differently? And am I willing to see things differently long enough to actually perceive the effect of that new perception that I have? Most people bail out before they actually stick to a new idea, before they begin to see it manifest, because their past witnesses to the beliefs that they already have. So what it really boils down to for all of us is this. Are you willing to start to tell yourself something different? Are you willing to start interpreting your experience differently so that you can start to see a different experience of your life? Because it's going to come from your own thinking. That's why I never argue with the person about how they're experiencing their experience, because I know their experience is going to be the exact replica of their belief system. So why would I argue with that? But what we want to know is that there's an alternative way of looking at things, and that we can start to use it. But just like we were programmed to believe what we believe now by the constant repetition and reinforcement of everything around us telling us that we are victims and separate, it's going to take also a willingness to hear something different from that to get you to change your mind about who you are enough to see the truth of who you are. The cool part about it is that we're not alone, and we have a ton of invisible support to help us change our mind to remember who we really are. So what would be the key to doing that? My desire. The energy of desire. It's gonna happen to the extent that I desire to see it differently. That's what it's gonna take. That's why we have to have passion about this. Because without passion about it, you'll never overcome the programming that you already have. You know. So the truth. So I had to take a stand. Whether anybody else takes a stand like I took or not, I took this stand. I am the creator of my experience. I'm responsible for how I'm experiencing everything that happens to me. I am the creator of my. I'm a child of God. I am not somebody that's here for a few minutes and gone. I'm an infinite being who's eternal, who's powerful, who is not alone, who has forgotten who he is and needs to remember who he is again. And that's what these books and all truth books are doing. They're trying to remind us of who we really are, but we've forgotten it. That's all these so-called truth paths are about, helping us remember. It's like we have some kind of a spiritual amnesia, and we're completely mesmerized and hypnotized by the world and everything that it's taught us. We know it must not be true because there's too much pain around here, which should be our first hint that we must not be seeing something correctly, or we wouldn't be in a place that's full of so much pain and death and sickness and competition and attack. Common sense would say we must be doing something a little awry. It shouldn't take a genius to get, if we were doing everything right, it really is the way we think it is, we wouldn't be having the pain and fear in the world that we see right now. Right? But the problem is most people are expecting for everybody else to change. They're looking for everybody else to act different. And they all think they're okay, and it's everybody else that's the problem. You know, that's the average person's thought. The way I'm looking at it is the way it is. You all need to change, and when you change, then everything will be all right. A conscious being is knowing that there's nothing they're perceiving that's not coming from the meanings that they're giving everything, and that their meanings are determining how they're feeling about everything, and then how you feel about things are determining what you're creating for yourself. So that's why our first priority, according to this, is to learn how to look at things in such a way that we don't lose our peace of mind. Because it's only when you have peace of mind that you can hear your inner guidance. You can't hear inner guidance in conflict and fear. So all these books work on us changing the way we are seeing it so we can hear our own guidance, because each and every one of us, we're being guided on our own individual path. But we don't know how to listen and access it because of the fear and conflict that we see around us. So our first priority should be inner peace. Inner peace. That's why I kept saying, you know, it's got to be from within, not without, first of all. So thank you for sharing. I'm gonna go deeper into this section now. Now remember, to make this fun, it's very important to keep in mind that I'm not asking you all to agree with me. Matter of fact, I didn't write The Way of Mastery, so I don't take responsibility for convincing anybody about anything. But The truth is, we'll never hear something different if we think we have to believe. Because then we go into a whole nother way. But if we go, okay, I'm going to hear this, and I'll buy what resonates with me, that I see as being my personal message tonight, and whatever else that doesn't resonate with me, it doesn't mean it's not true, just because I don't believe it. But it does mean right now the message that I needed to hear was the one that inspired me. Whatever that sentence was that moved me, that woke me up a little bit more, made me feel a little bit more centered and conscious, that's the one I should focus in on. That's what I should try to implement. The ego, fearful man, does just the opposite. It listens for everything it can disagree with, and then focus on that instead of necessarily hearing what might be the message that resonated that it could start to implement immediately to change your life. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like when you hear something that inspires you, that might be the sentence. It might be one sentence out of the entire class that hits that for you. But beware of the part of the mind that wants to overlook what inspired you, but focus on what confuses and disorients you and frightens you. Because the part of us that doesn't love us has one purpose according to this, which is to keep us in a state of fear, which therefore keeps us in a state of separation. Because there's a part of the mind that wants to be separate. And the part of the mind that wants to be separate can only do it through fear. And so it looks for things to feel fear and conflict about, to maintain its control, because it's the part that's been in control for so long in the world. So don't think the part of you that learned the things that the world taught is going to give it up without a fight. Your old self is going to do everything in its power to keep you from going in a new direction or thinking something differently. Because it's been the leader up to now. But you should fire it. And you should fire it because of the results it's giving you. And the results that it's giving you is not complete peace within yourself and in your life. It's amazing how much I would defend a part of me that never was giving me any real joy. It used to amaze me how much I wanted to be right more than I wanted to be happy. It's so easy. It's so easy to say, if you all changed, I would be happy. It takes a whole nother level for me to go, I'm responsible for how I'm feeling in this room right now. And from this, and no matter what happened to me from this day, from the day I was born up to this moment right here, from this moment forward, I can choose to do it differently because I can think something different. So I can't even use my past anymore as justification for staying the way that I am. Because it just brought me to this point. What point? The point that you would say, I am the extension of love in form. I've never been born and I will never taste death. I am infinite and eternal. I shine forth as a sunbeam to the sun. I am the effect of God's love, and I stand before all of you to love you. When that becomes something that's in my soul, my desire, and I believe it, my world will reflect this. It will be a reflection of this. That's what's going to happen. But if I don't believe this, right, then my world reflects the fear, and I'm going to believe that's what the world is. Because the person always sees the world that they believe is there. That's why you can't argue with the person. If a person believes that people are untrustworthy or out to get them, they're going to be surrounded by people who are untrustworthy, who are out to get them. So it's going to make perfect sense to them that what I'm saying is not true. Because in their world, it isn't. Because we are consciousness. And so we experience what we focus on and what we believe and what we desire. That's what we perceive. That's what we experience. So I'm excited to know that regardless of what I learned in the past, I can choose another way of looking at it now. So that's why it says here, desire is everything. So take a moment right now, let your body relax. Okay. Imagine that you can move back from being the actor in the play of your life to being the director and the producer. See, so far it looks like there was another director and another producer and you were the actor and you didn't really like your part. Right? Now it's saying, well, change it around and go, I am going to be now the director and the producer. So you're sitting in your studio, you're editing the story of your life, you're looking at all your little clips of film, Clips from the time you were birthed, the time you went to kindergarten, the time you first fell in love, the time you first decided to go to a movie, the time you went off to college, or the time you took a job, this job or that job, or the time you moved to a new physical location. Look carefully and see if it is not true that for every action you've ever done, for every decision you've ever made, after trying to analyze it all, is there not underneath everything the energy of desire? In truth, you do not lift your body from the couch to go to the refrigerator without the desire to eat. Something calls you into an expression of action. It's desire. No one enters into an intimate relationship without the energy of desire. For what two have ever looked upon one another and said, I don't feel any desire whatsoever, but let's get married and have children and raise a family. I don't have any desire around you whatsoever, but let's get married. Let's have children. Let's raise a family. Desire is that energy which brings forth all waves of creation out of the depth of the ocean itself, and yet who among you has not felt conflicted about desire? Who among you has not been taught that desire is evil? That sometimes your desires are the main things that are going to hurt you, that you have bad desires. Any of you all ever been taught that there are bad desires? Okay. And who among you has not been taught not to desire to be great? Who among you hasn't been taught that the desire for material comfort is some sort of a blot on the spiritual path? Some of us believe that if you want material comfort or material things or physical things, somehow or another that means you're not elevated spiritually. So then we get that old time belief that poverty is spiritual. And so people who were brought up like I was, and I was told it was easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get in the kingdom of heaven, that's a programming to you that somehow or another you're more spiritual the more broke you are. If that was true, most of us should be levitating. So we already know that's crap. Your credit score tell you that. You know what I'm saying? So we already know that that's not true. As a matter of fact, who's much more likely to hit you over the head? Somebody that has nothing, or somebody that feels whole and complete and that they have abundance. There's no benefit to the poverty. It's the spiritual root. The what I call the future givers of America. You know, the people who are going to always give so much when they finally have. But if I had it, I really would give it to you. If I had it, right? So then it makes sense then that I need to allow myself to experience the abundance that's my natural state. If I'm going to share anything with you, I can't share a meal with you that I don't have. So I can't give you love that I don't have. So we have to let go of this idea of putting somebody else's needs before our own, instead of allowing ourselves to be whole and complete, so that we'll have something to give, so that we would actually have something to share with someone else. You're not being selfish by putting your needs first. You're just creating a reality that you actually have something to give.
Yay.
All right. Okay. So I want you to look inside your soul, and I want you to see if that isn't true. That you have been taught that some of your desires are cool, some of them are not. That you've heard that somehow or another you have the desire for the material. It's funny. It's like in spiritual classes, people very seldom bring up money. You very seldom hear a question about money, ever. Another thing that they tend to not bring up in the spiritual class is sex. Another thing that you never hear about in most spiritual class, there's certain things that people don't talk about. Why? Because that's part of that belief we have that spirituality is something separate from all those things. Even though those are the kind of issues that people wrestle with all the time. So I love having classes where we talk about the things that people actually deal with every day, and how can you use your everyday experience as a way to achieve spiritual enlightenment. Because everything in your life has been set up perfectly as the exact learning experiences that you need to wake up to your greater identity of love. There's not a thing that happens to you in your life that's an accident. Everything is divinely orchestrated to bring you to the awareness of who you really are. It's perfect storm of lessons. Now it's up to you to choose whether they're lessons that you learn through fear or you learn through love. But you're going to learn to love yourself. The end result is you're going to love yourself. So we can either take the rocky road to that, or we can take the expressway. but you're going to end up loving yourself. That's the end of the book. See, like it's almost like
We're done.
It's sort of like this. It's sort of like going to the end of the book and going, okay, the end of the book says, and he lived happily ever after. Okay, that's how it ended. Now, all of this is what he went through to live happily before he lived happily ever after. So that's what you got to do. You got to go, I'm going to make the decision that the universe is a loving universe and that it's based on something real and something that's true and something that's peaceful and sharing and caring and abundant. That's my natural state. That's the way it will be when I get rid of the incorrect programming that I've gotten and given myself since the day I was born. And everything that happens in my life is just what I'm going through to reach that realization. So I'm much more likely to stick to something if I know how it's going to turn out than if I have no earthly idea how it's going to turn out. I'll be a lot more patient if I know, oh, I'm going to be picked up at 6 o'clock for sure. I'm going to be a lot more impatient if I don't know if the person's going to pick me up at 6 o'clock or not. So keep in mind that patience is in direct relationship to certainty of outcome. And patience is also in direct relationship to how much of a willingness you have to keep going for what you say you want. So patience is nothing but, a person who's patient is just a person who's willing to keep on doing what it takes until they get what they want. That's all a patient person is. They're willing to do. An impatient person is a person that doubts the outcome and they don't have any real desire for what they're after anyway. That's why they're so impatient. No faith, no real desire for it. You know, now when I first read that in the Course in Miracles, I went, wow, that's deep. But that's absolutely true.
Yep.
You're totally patient when you're certain of how it's going to turn out. And you're totally impatient when you don't have an abundant willingness to do whatever it is it takes for whatever it is you say you want. So what's the advantage of desire? Well, if I go after what I desire, then it's going to automatically give me the patience that I need to achieve it. Because I really desire it. And because I really desire it, I'm not going to let anything stop me. Why? Because I really desire it. I totally desire it. So when you talk to most people and you ask them what they want, most of the time they'll tell you what they don't want. They have no idea what they want. So they'll tell you what they don't want. And then you watch and see how much passion you feel. Watch and see how much you can see that they light up when they say they want that. Do you want to have a relationship? Yes. I really would love a relationship. I love the opportunity to share love with somebody and to wake up together and to grow and to recognize who we are together. That's exciting to me. You want a relationship? Yeah. And you can apply that to everything. How much enthusiasm do you see in the people around you about anything that they say they want? It has to be a Broncos game. It has to be. It has to be. I love it being in bars or somewhere in their own, and all of a sudden everybody goes, hey! But if you were to say that about you being an infinite being that deserves to be loved,
we all go like this.
They go. That's exactly right. It's interesting. If I could have that same amount of enthusiasm about sports, about my awakening as I have about sports, or some people have about sports, then I would already be enlightened. So I'm not putting that down. I'm saying, how can we emulate that level of energy and desire toward what we want for ourselves? That's all I'm saying. It's cool if you want to watch football.
We need to have an awakening party.
Of course, we should have an awakening party with people who desire to awaken.
Yes.
That's the. So I totally share with you.
Yeah.
I just think we should start being much more about being with people who are enthusiastic. Enthusiasm creates. Enthusiasm creates. Enthusiasm creates. Enthusiasm creates. So it says, have you not feared at times the welling up of desire within you? For as I look upon your plane, there are many who become paralyzed with fear just because they desire to have a bowl of friggin' ice cream. That's right. There's some people that when someone put a bowl of ice cream in front of them, they become totally afraid. they immediately go into how many calories is that? How much weight am I going to gain? You know what I'm saying? Does the ice cream have MSG in it? You know what I'm saying? It's like something about the ice cream. And he says, so afraid are they that if they give in to that desire, something in the ice cream will cause their body to bloat. Ooh. And their brain to cease functioning. For those of you in intimate relationship, 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 marriage or commitment of some kind, how many of you have not carried the belief taught you by the world that if you feel an energy of desire welling up within you when you look upon someone who is not your partner,
oh shoot,
somehow you've sinned against God? If you happen to look at someone that's not your partner, or desire someone that's not your partner, then somehow you have sinned against God. You're doing something really, 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 really horrible.
What?
You know.
What do I do?
If you should dare feel desire for anybody other than your partner, you're doing something wrong. Now, if everybody is an aspect of yourself, explain that to me. If we are truly one, why are you doing something wrong to feel desire or attraction or love or appreciation for somebody else also? So those are the kind of issues that come up as you begin to wake up. Because as you begin to wake up, you start to recognize you are one with everything and everyone around you. And you have to get clear about how you want to navigate that most peacefully, because you will surely have attractions and desires for more than one person.
That's right.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Yes, you are. That's why, that's okay. I'm not going to argue with anybody about anything. You can have your perception. I can have my perception. It's perfectly okay. All right. But the point that I'm making is, as you begin to wake up, you are going to start having feelings and emotions beyond what you were taught and what you're programmed to have. And you have to get clear within yourself how you're going to navigate that in such a way as to give yourself peace. Because, hold up. I'm going to throw it open for questions and comments in just a minute. Because that's when you can tell when people are hearing, when people are hearing you, as well as getting in touch with what their greatest fears are. You know, that's what's cool. I hope I say stuff that triggers some of you, because if I don't, you're not hearing anything different. And hearing something different doesn't mean you have to agree or believe it. I'm gonna say this one more time. I will not debate with anybody in my classes about anything. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna tell you to think any differently than you want to think about anything. I'm not gonna ask you to agree with everything that I say. So I'm not going to stop to convince you that what I'm saying is correct, because I trust you'll come to your own conclusions about what works for you. And I want to cover stuff in this book. Okay? So I don't care if you agree with me or not. I swear to God I don't. Because I should not be in front of this class if people have to agree with me. I should not be sitting up here. But by the same token, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No.
It actually doesn't matter, because in the end, it's going to be you going within, paying attention to what your inner guidance says, and then doing what it tells you to do. But I'm going to throw a logical question out to you to think about. If we are one, which is the main thing that we are always reading in all these friggin' books, okay? We hear that all the time. You are one. We're one. We're one. We're one. We're one. We're one. Well, if I am one with you and you are me and I am you, it is not outlandish to believe that you would start loving more and more of yourself. So yes, you would love more than one person. That is the nature of love, to be inclusive. Now, specialness is different. Specialness is totally different. Specialness is me singling out you for my attention above anybody and everybody else. And I'll give it to you as long as you act right. And when you don't, I'm mad and I'm withdrawing my love. That's specialness. That's not love. They're two different things. Love doesn't require a physical contact necessarily. It doesn't require sex necessarily. It has nothing to do with money necessarily. So whenever you ever talk about loving more than one person, the first place the mind goes to is usually the sex, body, competition, somebody else getting my attention more than you. So we go where? Straight to fear. That's where it goes, straight to fear. But I'm telling you, and you don't have to believe it, as you begin to recognize your oneness and to have spiritual awareness, your capacity to love is going to increase. You're going to become more inclusive in your love. That don't mean you're going to become more inclusive in your sexual activity.
But you could.
Or it might.
Exactly right, and it might. But either way it goes, what love is all inclusive, and it's just your particular choice. That's all I'm saying. It might not. It might, for you, it might mean more sex. For somebody else, it might mean celibacy. That's my point. It's your personal path is going to determine how you actualize your awakening. That's all I'm saying. So your personal path may say monogamy, celibacy. Somebody else's personal path might go, hey, I want to be more open and I'm more sexually available to more than one person. Our job is to stop friggin' judging. That's our spiritual development, is about letting go of projecting our values on everybody around us and then judging them if they don't do it the way that we would do it.
Amen.
If we would ever cut that out and just go, I'm going to live my path the way that I'm being led to live it, that's my responsibility. And I'm going to let everybody else live theirs the way that they should. And if it's based in love, it's not going to be harmful to anybody. That's another way you know. Because people go, well, what if they try to attack somebody? No truly loving, conscious being is attacking anybody.
That's right.
That's the surefire sign the person is completely unconscious. If somebody's loving you and smacking you around at the same time from a perspective of hate, then you know that that's not where love is situated in circumstance. So anyway, I'll say it again. If you feel an energy of desire welling up within you when you look upon someone who's not your partner, God, I'm so glad I ain't that scared anymore. That I don't have to be like terrified of my partner caring about someone else that's me. It's like, God, that's so much easier to move through life like that. Jesus. But I can definitely remember when it was another way, so don't get me wrong. But between the two, between being fearful and jealous and feeling whole and secure, I'll go with whole and secure any friggin' day. Because I can't follow nobody around and make sure that they're not doing something with somebody else. That's like insane. Just like that thing I put on the website about the lady.
Sharpie out.
Yeah, get the Sharpie out. You know. So he says, how many of you do not know the experience of trying to rein in 10,000 horses, so sure that if you give in to the feeling of desire, that everything would run amok. And so in other words, how many of you feel so much desire that you feel like you have to keep that desire under complete control, or you just go wow?
Right. Right.
Okay.
We were all jumping at that. I think we were all going through that situation in our own. Well, there is that one.
Yeah, have you ever been in the presence of someone that you felt so much desire that it frightened you? That it was just something about them that you felt this unbelievable attraction that was almost beyond your wildest dreams? You know, that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. Desire is good.
Yes.
Desire is good. Desire is good. It's neutral. It's what do you want to do with it? That's what matters. So if you're walking around dead, you might want to crank up some desire. You know what I'm saying? If your life is just gray and dull and dead, it just means you're not doing what you really want to do. You're not doing what you really want to do. You haven't gotten in touch with your heart and your soul yet. You shouldn't be a dead person walking around. You know, that's why so many zombie movies out, and that's why everybody's so into zombie movies. It's dead people that feed off of each other, the dead people that feed off of live people, and you'll find that as you begin to wake up spiritually, you will draw vampires and zombies, people who come into your experience just to suck your energy up without offering you anything. They walk away, you feel like laying down, and they walk away, and they're all energized. I'm so glad I spent that time with you. They just got them sucking the blood out of you. Because they're not generating their own light. So they need your light. And then the ego will tell you, oh, I'm special. I'm getting so much attention from everybody. It's like, no, you want an exchange. You want giving and receiving to be the same. You want a circle going on. You don't want a get going on.
That's right.
You don't want to get going.
You don't want to get going on. You don't want to get going on. I'm sorry, I get kind of carried away with this stuff. It's so good.
So good.
I love this stuff. It's like for me, when I study this kind of stuff, it's a turn on. It's like it blows my mind that people can act like it's drudgery. Oh my God, I got to go to a class tonight. Oh, I got to read something. It's like, oh my God. It's like, man, this is cool stuff. Telling you that you're innocent in your energy of desire, that you are a powerful, loving being, that you were created by something that loves you, and that abundance is your natural state, and that you deserve to have loving relationship and a life where so much is coming to you that your biggest challenge is how can you handle all the stuff that's coming in. That's good stuff. Okay. All right. Okay.
Let's not get carried away.
Not get carried away. So, and at that attempt to keep your life structured, rigid, and predictable, there's a part of you that tells you that without your attempt to keep your life structured, rigid, and predictable, it would collapse and all hell would break loose. That if you actually wasn't trying to be in control of everything, every minute, everything would fall apart. And you'll find out it's just the opposite. Right. When you relinquish control and surrender to your source is when everything starts to come together. It's just the opposite of what we tell ourselves. Now, those of you who have any questions or comments about anything, have at it.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
If all we are is love, then what are we when we are, in fear? We're still love, but we're fearful of? I mean,
we are still love misperceiving. We're just a loving being that's temporarily misperceiving what the truth is about what's going on. The Course in Miracles says something that I love. It says, whenever you feel fear, it just means you're trusting in your own strength separate from God. That fear is the result of you trying to do it by yourself and forgetting that you're connected to Source. Because we do have free will, so we can choose at any given time what it is we want to give meaning to, what it is we want to accept as true. So I can accept meanings and interpretations from my life that I make myself feel afraid about. But in other words, this way to look at it. No matter what I think, quote unquote, I'm still Earl. So it's like it's an analogy. I'm Earl, so I could be Earl thinking things that make me happy. I could be Earl thinking jealousy. I could be Earl thinking abundant. I could be Earl thinking fear. But it still doesn't stop who I am. And so that's what we're being told. Your core essence and identity is love. And no matter what you think about yourself, that's what it is. But what you are experiencing is what you're thinking about yourself. But it doesn't change who you really are. That's our saving grace. Is that no matter what you think about yourself, you can't change who you really are.
So you said that we're love, and when we have fear, it's because we forget our connection to God? Is that what you said?
When we have fear, it means that we're misperceiving something. It means we've forgotten the truth. It means that we're telling ourselves something that's not the truth of our being. Because we can think anything we want to. You see what I'm saying? If you're free to think anything that you want to, then you can think of yourself as being not love. And then you can give yourself the experience of that, but it doesn't change the fact that you are love. Now this is the cool part. This is like the fail-safe system. This is the way it works. Anything that you make up that's not true and not love can't last. So everything that's not true has to end. So that's why nobody can suffer forever. That's why no one can be in pain forever, because it's not based on love. So therefore it ends. But if it's real, it just increases and expands. So even if I'm afraid, I will never be afraid forever because nothing is supporting my fear but me. I've got to keep it going. I got to keep telling myself something that keeps me afraid because the universe only wants me to know who I really am, and that's love. So that's why we can just chill out and not get so uptight about it all, because love is still going to win. The truth is going to win. You're going to end up. You're going to be happy ever after. But part of getting there was you, in chapter 20, you had to work on your fear. You see what I mean?
Sure.
In chapter 23, you had to change your perception of relationships. And those of you who need to have relationships with one person who gives you all their attention and you give them all your attention and all of that, you can have it. You can have it any way you want it. That's how much you're loved. You can have it that way as long as you want. But you know what's so funny? People who claim they want that kind of relationship, if they really are not loving themselves, will always choose somebody who doesn't want it. That's how you can always tell when you don't really want what you're asking for. You will fall in, quote unquote, in love with somebody who's just the opposite of everything that you're saying that you want. Because that's the guarantee you won't have it.
Absolutely.
So when you tell me you want to have a certain kind of relationship, but I see you with somebody that's exactly the opposite of that, then you need to ask yourself, do I really want what I say I'm asking for? That's not that, so I don't know what the answer to that is. I'm just saying you should ask, is that really what I want? Because why am I in this relationship that's just the opposite of everything that I say I really want? Unless there's some parts of me that doesn't really want it or think I deserve it. Because you can never be alone in anything according to this. There's no such thing as you being alone in anything. Go to the internet. You'll see it. I don't care. The weirdest thing you can think of, Google it. And you will find there's somebody else who's into it and does it more than you do. I thought I was pretty open-minded till I hit the internet. Then I realized I wasn't as open-minded as I thought I was. You know, because I would just be, what? It's like, so
How
you
did
never
I stumble on this?
Yeah, I know. How did that happen? I was looking for National Geographic. How did that happen that I'm looking at this page? But then you get in touch with all your feelings around sexuality and sexual guilt in the body. Because if you got the right perception, you could look at anything and not lose your peace. Because you would know that you're the one that determines how you feel about whatever you're looking at. But once you get that you're the one that's determining your feelings, then you know you could theoretically feel peace about anything that you're looking at. Because it's you giving yourself the feeling about it. Wow. So I'm giving myself the feelings that I have about you. I've decided to let loving feelings come out.
So if I see an abused dog that cigarettes, you know, and I know he's in pain, I should be like peaceful about it.
You should be peaceful.
There is no like, oh, I need to do something about it.
Being peaceful doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything about it. Being peaceful means you're not attacking yourself about the dog. In other words, I can peacefully, if I choose to, I can peacefully pick the dog up, put him in the car, and take him to the vet. What it's saying is I don't have to be frantic, miserable, screaming up and down, attacking myself because the dog is being abused. I can peacefully. It's like, here's a great analogy. You just got hit by a car, you riding your bicycle, and you laying on the ground. Who do you want to help you? The person that comes up and says, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Or do you want the person to help you that goes, now just breathe, stay there. I'm going to call 911. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Peace is always stronger than war, conflict, and anger. Peace allows you to see the situation from the optimum perspective in order to be the most effective. So peace is always the way you want to go with anything that's happening. You would freak out if a house was burning down and the fire department showed up and they went, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know, you counted on them going, go get the water over here, put the ladder over there, Jake, you go under that. So peace this is what the truth is trying to tell us.
That's the ideal. That's the ideal situation you're talking about. However, anger makes us do things and change the world.
Anger is created just like every other feeling.
Anger, but you know, getting upset, or I don't know, maybe use the right word. That's what makes people change things and make it better.
If you see anger is justified, you'll have a world full of anger. And so if it comes up, then you should feel okay about the anger. That's all I'm saying. If you, whatever you justify, you're going to have more of it in your life. So if you justify anger and you go, anger serves a good purpose, then you should never get upset when you're surrounded by angry people, because I've just justified it. So that's what I'm saying. I won't ever argue with anyone about what they believe, but if you justify it, if in your mind you see a good reason for it, then you'll have it. If you see a good reason for poverty, then don't be surprised if you're broke. Because for you, it's justified. It serves a good purpose. If you see anger as something that's helpful, then don't be surprised if there's a lot of anger around you, because you've justified it. You said it's okay. The difference that these books are trying to get us to do is to make a decision that that's not something that you want in your life, that it's not necessary for you to learn love through anger. It's not necessary for you to learn abundance through poverty. It's not necessary for you to learn how to have a good relationship through having bad relationships. You know, you don't have to go through all that in order to have loving relationships.
Now you're telling me.
I know, but that's the wisdom of the world. See, the world teaches us that you have to do things through suffering. That it's only through suffering and hard, effort and work, and that you get things. And the truth is saying, no, love gives. It doesn't take. Love shares. It doesn't steal. And we are in a world that's based on the idea of fear. Mm-hmm. So all of this, this is alien concepts to a person that grows up here, because we are supposed to be the ones that allow it to happen. If it's going to happen, it's got to happen through us. If love is going to come in your life, you've got to be the portal for it. As long as you're looking for everybody else to change before you give the love, you'll be waiting the rest of your life. Your world is a three-dimensional mirror of your own consciousness. And I'll say that 1,000 times. It's a reflection of your beliefs. And if you believe something is justified, then you'll see it in your life. And you'll feel right, because there it is. I believed it. It's there.
Shouldn't we use the word anger? It's the English misunderstanding, I guess. But I want to ask, so what makes people change? Like, when they see abused children or abused animals, how?
Everything.
So they should be cool and peaceful, and what makes them tick?
Desire.
It's everything I've been saying since the beginning of the class. Everything that I've been saying since the beginning of the class is answering the question that you're asking. It really is. Everybody's acting according to the belief and the thought system that they have and the desires that they have. And what makes a person change is a desire to change. What makes a person change is when they reach their limit in some way, and then they go, there must be a better way. And until a person reaches their limit, then they continue to do the same stuff over and over again. And all it means is that they haven't reached their limit yet. But they will, because there is a limit to pain, but there is no limit to joy. But pain, thank God, has a limit. Some people have thresholds of pain that blow my mind. The amount of crap they can put up with before they'll do something different is unbelievable. But here's what the Course in Miracles teaches about that. As you begin to have spiritual awakening, you will not be able to tolerate discomfort and suffering and pain as much as you did in the past. So spiritual awakening makes you less tolerable of suffering. It doesn't make you more tolerable of it. Some people think if you're really growing spiritually, you'll suffer longer, better, with less complaint. And the truth is saying, nah, the ones you recognize that there's another way and it's available to you and it's joyful, you will stop putting up with the stuff that you've been putting up with. And it doesn't matter to you if the other person wants to keep on doing it. You're going to say, I'm not going to do it anymore. So you won't be one of those persons saying, well, I really want to change, but my friends and my partner, they don't really want to change, so I can't really change because they're not cooperating with me. You're a person that don't really want to change. Because if you really did, it wouldn't make you any difference whether they wanted to do it or not. You'd have to go in a direction that's going to bring you peace. So there are two kinds of people, basically, that come to stuff like this or to read those who want to stay the way they are, but without the suffering that it entails, which you can't do, and those who realize that they're going to have to choose another way of being in order to have what they want, and they're willing to make whatever internal shifts they need to make to do it. That's it. Those are the two people that's out there. Those who are going to defend their position, and those who say there must be a better way. I want another way of looking at it, and I'm going to move in that direction. That's it. That's it. And you can't make anybody do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard something the other day. It was pretty interesting. It's if you put out good in the world, you'll get something back, but it's not going to be instantaneous. But if you put out bad, it's going to be instant. It'll almost be instantaneous, the reaction that you get. So somebody takes a parking spot you're going for, and you just go grab another parking spot and get out and say good morning to that person. Or you're not going to probably hear anything back. You may hear good morning, but you won't get anything back right away. But if you get up and say, hey, you jerk, you took my parking spot, you're going to get an instant reaction.
Well, I would assume you would if you said jerk. You you took my parking spot.
But that's kind of taking it to a higher level. But if you're positive and you put out good into the world, you're going to get it back, but it's not going to be now.
And what if it could be instant? What if giving and receiving could be instantaneous? What if the minute that you gave out love, you experienced love?
That would depended on how you believed.
And if it was truly coming through you, it would have an effect on you as it came through you. So you'd be getting an instant. You'd be that's what I'm saying. If you were really letting joy come through you, then you are feeling it. So you really are getting an instant return on what you gave. And so always keep that in mind, that whatever comes through you, anger, fear, love, joy, whatever comes through you is having an effect on you. So it is giving and receiving an instant. You know, if I'm appreciating you, then I'm feeling that appreciation immediately. So I just got my reward for appreciating you. That's why it's almost like we're looking for it in the future, but the truth is we received it the instant we gave it. But we're looking for a form on the outside instead of realizing that it was the feeling of joy that came through you that was the instant reflection of the joy that you gave. Because as you wake up spiritually, you realize that it's about the content and not about the form out here. It's about what you're feeling inside. Because you're doing the stuff out here so you can have certain feelings inside.
And that's where saying good morning, you're going to get that good feeling.
Right, you get that good feeling as soon as you say it. So you actually got the receiving of your giving instantly.
Yeah.
And then the mind said, well, maybe somewhere down the line, somebody's going to do something nice, but you don't realize you just got your instant reward was when you gave the love. It was right then. And that's what fools us, is that we don't realize, oh my God, I love you. I'm feeling the love I have for you. Then I'm actually receiving what I'm giving right then. But then my ego says, well, but then they should give you a car on your birthday.
Right, joy.
See, that's when the ego mind gets involved. You can always tell, because when the ego mind gets involved, past and future gets involved. Because that's where the ego, fearful mind lives. In the past or in the future. And the loving mind lives in the present. Yeah, so the minute I go, it's going to happen to me in the future, a good thing, then I know I'm in my ego. But if I'm going to receive the love that I'm giving right now. Now I'm in the present. Now I'm in my spiritual power. I don't want to wait. I'm glad I can feel what I feel for you the instant that I give it to you. I feel it right then, because then all I have to do is want to be a means for love to come to you all the time, to feel good all the time. That's all I have to do is go, all right, I want to be a means for love to come on the planet and to come through me. Then I got to feel every bit of it that's coming through me, and I don't even have to create it or source it, because I didn't create it. I am the means for it to come through to you.
I love that.
Yeah. It's like we work too friggin' hard. Because we think we're the one that's got to source the love. I got to make myself love you. No, I don't. I just need to get out of the friggin' way and let the love that is in me come through to you. It'll do its own thing. It's waiting for me to get out of the way. And so we're all full of it. We're all full of it. And all we need to do now is get into the energy of desire. You know, if whatever you 100%, the Course in Miracles says, to create is to wholly desire. The Way of Mastery says the same thing. When you completely desire something with no opposite to it, 100%, you're going to create it. But most people don't ask for things with 100% commitment. They ask for things, you know, and its truth even adds to that. It says it's just too loving, so it takes a while to get it. It's just too loving. It says that whatever level you love, if you are willing to be conscious of it, then your higher self will take up the slack. Like if I only can do 60%, then my higher self will do the other 40, so that it still be 100% love coming at you. But I have to have some awareness that there's a higher self to even let that happen in a way that I can receive it. So that's why the most important thing we can do is make contact with our source. So let's acknowledge ourselves for letting ourselves hear that. Lord have mercy. Okay, let's do the financial expression of appreciation. Thank you for sharing with me in my full-time ministry with the Course in Miracles and Way of Mastery. Those of you online, thank you for your gifts. Thank you for sharing with me. If you'd like to also make a financial expression of appreciation, please go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and also sign up for the contact list so that you can get an email link to the videos of the class so that you can always get a chance to watch it again. So go to my website, sign up for the contact list. And also I'm available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, where we take the Way of Mastery, the Course in Miracles, and everything and apply it to your personal situation that you're going through right now so that you can have a healing. And if you are open to it, I'll also share with you my knowledge of astrology and numerology and what we're doing too. So answers are available for those who resonate to it and want to do it. I'm here only to be truly helpful, because once you realize it's nothing but you become much more about wanting to be of service to everyone, because you know you're being of service to yourself. So it just, I don't know, the oneness thing just works better.
And the dog.
You know, and what?
The dog with the burn marks. When you're giving back to the dog, then you're giving to yourself. Same thing.
Oh, you're helping the dog.
Yeah. In other words,
never forget the dog.
Peace is powerful. To do things from peace, that's the perspective that gives you the clearest perception and the greatest clarity. It doesn't mean you'll do nothing. It doesn't. But what you will always do is ask your higher self if this is what you need to do. Your higher self may say, don't do anything. You know how it is. Some people are standing on the corner asking for money, and you'll walk right past them. And then there'll be some people asking for money, and you'll feel compelled to share something with them. So it's totally individual. And so if you don't feel like doing it, don't think that you are denying that person. Because if it really is something that they want and they deserve to have and it's time for them to have it, your decide not to do it isn't going to keep them from having it.
That's right.
So in other words, don't let your ego get that big that you think if you don't do it, it's not going to be done. It might be that if you got involved, it would be the worst thing that could happen to that person. And it may be if you got involved, it was the best thing that could have happened to that person. So the Course in Miracles is saying we don't really know what somebody else's best interest is. That's only our ego that it would even say, I know what's best for you, Doug, so I'm going to fix you, buddy, because I know what's best for you. A conscious being would never say that. A conscious being would ask, what do you want me to say, Spirit? What do you want me to do? And listen. Okay? So to finish this up, I'm going to go over that, who am I, a few times. And if you get the book Way of Mastery, it would be great, since especially at the beginning of the year, to make a commitment to actually reading it and studying it. And it's easier to read it and study it if you have it. So I would just like to suggest, if you really feel like, you can get it on Amazon.com, but you can also get it from the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center over on Bucktail. They carry it over there, Bucktail and Monroe. Okay, so okay, all right, you ready? Okay. So Sunday, 1 o'clock, Course in Miracles. Who are you? So what I'm going to do is, and sometimes when I'm in the class and they say repeat after me, I don't feel like repeating nothing. So those of you who don't feel like repeating anything out loud, don't. And it's perfectly okay. You are cool with me. If you just want to listen or say it silently, by all means you are all right with Raj, because I know how you feel. Those of you who don't mind saying it and you want to say it, then I would like to ask you to say it. But say it with enthusiasm. Say it with desire. So that way everybody's happy. Who are you? I am the extension of love in form. I am the extension of love in form. I have never been born, and I will never taste death. I have never been born, and I will never taste death.
Never. Go Broncos.
Sorry. It's all right. I would dare compete with the Bronco energy. No, I would never do that. Go. I am infinite and eternal. I am infinite and eternal. I shine forth as a sunbeam to the sun. Woo, take a breath. Let's say it one time. I shine forth as a sunbeam to the sun. I am the effect of God's love. Take a breath. Here we go. I am the effect of God's love. Oh, that was funky. Let's say that one more time. I am the effect of God's love. Woo. I am the effect of God's love. Here's another one. And I stand before you to love you. Say it again. And I stand before you to love you. Ooh. I stand before you to love you. Let's look around. I stand before you to love you. Ooh. I stand before you to love you. Or sit. I sit before you to love you. Hey, brother. I sit before you to love you. Yes. I sit before you to love you. Say what? I sit before you to love you. I sit before you to love you. All right, y'all. Let's give it up. Yes. 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 I sit before you to love you. I sit before you to love you. And guess what? I sit before you to love you.